example of what I have found now is that we have lists for people active in the Swedish Chamber at different times. Someone has done this, we can see in the history, it may be done, it was created 2007. And they have a project called Swedish Politician. I haven't looked into this project yet, but and here we can see if it's active. Guess not. 2017. And here they say what they think of resources and so on. I will try to get updated on this project. It's just in Swedish. It's on the Swedish Wikipedia. But everything goes down to Wikidata objects and so on and so on. So what we can see here is that we... what we can see is that we... In this list, someone has done... We have, like, here this link. And that link is the link I added 5 seconds ago. Interesting thing, if my vision is that if we can work together, Wikidata community and your project, that would be excellent. But also, I think that you people doing research should have a vision of creating a ecosystem where you help each other. I have was on a very, very good workshop, and they spoke about, see if we can find it here. And they spoke about that working in a digital way, you need to start thinking in a new way, that you help each other create data. Maybe I can't. Here we can. Catherine McDonough, and she's working at the Alan Turing Institute, and she working together, not just shared output. And what I can see now, for example, is how do we define parties? It must be people who have done research on parties when they started, when they ended, when they merged, and so on. We look into the liberals in Sweden. They have had a history where parts has ended and so on. And if we do it in a correct way, I think we should have parties in the database saying it started, it ended, it was merged, and so on. And what I miss in the Mons data model is you don't have claim, you don't have sources why you think things has changed, or if a person is born and so on. So if, for example, if I look here in Wikidata, this is an old article which I have linked, which I should add now, and we can see then that it was created 2008, last updated 2014. But if we go down to Wikidata, we can see now that I added today, I have a specialist who can see who I said it, a picture of him. And the picture of him came from this odd source, Swedish Portrait Archive. So we have now from a portrait book some kind of source. The sad things now is that the person who did this scanning, when he started, he didn't add what book did he get this from. So we have to find out. If I go to his details now, we can check in. I have a lot of special things here. Maybe I have, and then we can check in the API what data they have in the database. And they maybe have a book called Tvåkammarriksdagen 67, and then he has, so maybe we can find this book as a source, which could be a good source. And what they do in this API is that they have every single fact, but they don't have the source for the fact. What they do, which is correct, but not as good as I think a research project should have, is they say that I updated the birthday, confirm the birthday. Because what they do in the end here, you can see, is that they suggest data, which means that if you have this person, now I have confirmed everything, then they take this text, do OCR on it, and use machine learning to populate this information here. And then you can see here my name when I did it. And here we have the book also. So see if I can't do like that. But and here we have, back to this with the names. Here we have this odd Kropp i Eskilstuna. So I guess that this person could have as alias. And the reason to have those alias, this is my opinion. In Wikidata, every person has 5 opinions, so you never know what's true. Is that Kropp i Eskilstuna is okay to have. And what I have seen in this Bionomia project, but also I sent you a link about a criminal project where they try to track criminals' names in different languages. They also use this also alias, also known as även känd som. So it could be good, and I will speak to this lady from the library and see, could it be so that every person had, for me it's odd. And I will ask on more places, I asked here to a user if he has some theories. But he also thought it was very, very odd. But this feels like a formal book, and I guess sometimes people... And the sad thing here is that we have the same problem. They have done an excellent work with names and so on, but they don't use linked data. If they have used linked data, then hierarchy is the same as a queue number where you have a position and so on and sources. Cluster, I guess, is the cluster parish. That's a problem we see with the Uppsala database. Alvin, is that they have a lot of locations, but a location in Sweden could be a church parish, it could be a civil parish, it could be a district, what we have now today, and so on. And you don't know what they speak about. Stockholm is an excellent example. Where I see more and more articles about where they have added data about Stockholm. So this is a Stockholm article. And in Wikidata we speak about it, Wikipedia we speak about it, and hopefully we don't mismatch it up so much. And hopefully we have 230 more articles in different languages about Stockholm. But what Stockholm is it? And some volunteers have started speaking with each other, what do you mean by this, and so on. And what we have found out is that we create disambiguation pages. So this is Stockholm disambiguation. It could be a place in the inner part of Stockholm, it could be the municipal, and so on. And there we need to split it up. And if we can see here that this is a page about disambiguation in Swedish. This is the same page about disambiguation done by the English Wikipedia. So they have the Stockholm Kaskakettechevan. It's when people move to the States, they use the Swedish names for places, and maybe cool people took the capital city. So I know we live in the capital city in New Jersey or something like that. But the interesting thing here is that we have disambiguation pages, and for example, Stockholm, New York is a small town. But what we do in Wikidata, which I think is the correct thing, is that we add it as a queue number. So by this I say it's a city in I run it in this in Swedish. It's a country, it's in administrative area. And what we have learned during the time, this is, as you can see, P1331. It's one of the early properties. We have also now created a property called in current administrative area. So if a place or something like that in the past was part of something, we other way around. If a place was located in what is current called St. Lawrence County, we can also mark that, because St. Lawrence County could then have different time spans as Stockholm, the city, and so on. And what we can see here is, the cool thing here, what we are doing, is that we have then articles in 10 languages about the Stockholm. Here I have a plugin, and if I look in this plugin, it's a region in another tool called OpenStreetMap. And in this other tool, they have done this and say, this is what we called 1357271. But that is the same as Wikipedia English, or even better, Wikidata queue number. So what you saw here, what my... And I think this is a great way to work between different domains. And that means that we can point on each other. And maybe it's not excellent here, but we can see if the area, here we see we have references, but they are not good. It's just DBpedia, and that's awful, because DBpedia gets this information from Swedish Wikipedia. So here we can add more references. So if we take, I can show you first this other stuff. So what happened in this iframe here, someone has written a plugin which I have activated, where they use open overpass. And overpass says, please give me every object that is the same as Q2839702. And he does a search and find this, and display this in an iframe. What we display here is this object here, I think. So here you can see Wikidata queue number. And Wikidata is one of the few they have as an external reference in OpenStreetMap. And so the big step I would like to see is that you start reference other research projects, you start having sources. And how we can use Wikidata in this particular case, where we have unknown names, is that we can start add Andersson in Russian. Maybe you have when he was active. So then we could add a stub saying when he was active, that he was in the Swedish parliament, and here's a man. Andersson i Rachen. I don't even know what Rachen is. Here we have. So that is that person. And here you can see, maybe I already have done the homework. Here we have Andersson in Rache. So then you can find it by doing a Sparkle query with the code I said. Here you have this mix and match, where we have external catalogs and try to match them into Wikidata. So for example, I created this Swedish portrait archive, this with a unique key and so on. Someone else has written to retrieve data from it. The problem is that the API just give back 10,000 items. I have tried to ask the people doing the project, but I guess if they say we'll let everyone take as much as they want, maybe they are afraid of something. So here they suggest a lot of people. We can see if one could be good here. He was born, we say, in 1884, 18 December. So no one knows this. Henning Andersson is a really common name. But here we have, for example, the same with, which is already matched, which is with the Alvin, the Uppsala University. And here we can also see the problem we can see. It's landshövding, we have text strings instead of IDs. So this person here, Gustav, has maybe some letter or what it could be, correspondence with Knut Persson. And the Knut Persson is only mentioned like this. What they have done in Alvin, which is correct, is that you have a unique ID for the person. No, this is for the record. This is the person. And here is, they say it's also text string, which is wrong. They say he is the same as that one. I have a plugin in here, but Alvin is not the good friend. Where if we had this Alvin in the database, we could easily find it. But they have done some odd formatting up here, which we don't like. We can test. Oh, it worked. I played a lot with this. So now we know that this person here is same as Q number 6045449. And here we have text strings, but we also have external references. So we can see that we have now the picture of this person. And this is Knut Persson Zacharias. So now we have connected this text string where we don't know nearly anything with this nice picture. And maybe we can do it like that. And we can also then, as I have added the API now called, so we can see what what data they have. So it was created 2017 at 10:04. And here we can see it's not confirmed, I think. Yes, it's not confirmed. So what they say now is that we have taken the OCR in this other project, extracted it, and then run machine learning. And then they say it's Knut Zacharias, correct? It's Pettersson, correct? Söder och Sator. Here they use text string, and I try to convince them to use same as Wikidata objects, but they haven't. C'est la vie. I think this is correct. Tilltalsnamn, Knut, big capital letter. The machine learning is doing excellent. We have parents, landshövding Alfred Pettersson. Matilda. So the father they never take, but the mother they take. So we say everything here is correct. Then I just do confirm. And then in the API, we can see it was confirmed by me at this odd R604. What we can do also is that I can see if we can find this person, which I think we have. He's Wikidata. And in this Wikidata person, we can see that he is same as Swedish Portrait Archive. Same as Alvin. What we can see is here in our picture thing, I have already added with my new, I did created this import here where we do a text search in Swedish Portrait Archive. I can just click, double click, and then I import things. And we can see he's not part of it. Knut, this other picture. We have a lot of pictures, but we don't have the one. And so now I did a search in this other system. And this is, I think, how archives in Sweden should work, that you connect with each other. So here we have Knut Pettersson. And that is the thing. Knut Pettersson. And we can see here from, this is from Wikidata then, 12 December 1982. It's that one. Didn't we have it? Yeah. What is so cool with Wiki Commons is that you can look at it, you can click on it to jump to SPA. That's my code. And then I say upload. Wiki Commons has 50 million pictures and we get good functionality. So now we say upload this picture. I need to have a unique ID on it. That's the only thing. And then he takes the information from the category where and from the picture which we retrieve. And now a check is done. Is this picture already uploaded? And it was, maybe. It's a duplicate. So we had it already. I missed it here. So this is the person, and if we have done this correct, which I think we haven't, we have a little bit done, we haven't done it correct. So we can see in the metadata now of this picture, it is the same as that one, and it is the same as Wikidata person. So this person is Q something. If I go out here and look on concept URA, then we can see that Q number here. And that is the Q number of Knut Persson. So we say P275 is the picked. P4819 is same is Swedish portrait archive. So this is the unique key of that. So that means that we can machine readable also read this and connect it. And when we have it like this, you also can change the language, which is, now I say give it back in Chinese, and we can see then that Knut Persson is not translated. This is translated. I think it's copyright statements. So I think it's worth looking into things. And what we learned from this picture above here was that the father is a landshövding. And then we can maybe see if, here we see if we have sources. Here we have good sources. So here, and this is what I think you should have. You can't just have facts. You must say that this fact is based on this source, and in this case it's based on Q3794, and we have also a external ID 7149, and that is, I have learned from people doing history, the best Swedish source for biographies and so on. Problem is they was created in 1918 and they are still working as it was 1980. So it's just text string. So we do web scraping and so on. I have met the people 2-3 times, all historical people. I tell them that you need to do it in a more modern way, but it's impossible to speak to them. And I think also I'm a little bit pain in the ass. What we can see here, they have a link in this case. So they say also he's the son of P1, and P1 is a reference to some earlier person in the books. So what we can do then is that I can click on this one, and as we have matched it, we have this plugin, I can see that this Alfred Pettersson is Q49. So then we go back here and we see if father is added. Father is added, and it was Q41. Also added with the source that this is the source. And what I have spoken with the founder of, I asked a question with the founder of Wikidata, Denny, about we need to classify sources. And I tried to convince the people in Wikipedia that we should do it, but the problem with a community like Wikipedia, we are very odd. So I did, for example, which I think is sad, for the Swedish SBL, most people done humaniora, understand what it is and so on. And I created it. I started with doing genealogy, and I thought it was a mess with all people adding whatever they wanted. I found this source, didn't know much about it, and then I spoke to some historian, and they told me this source is the best. If people studying at the university haven't used it as a reference when they write a historical article, they need to go back and do it. So what I tried to do then is that I structured information about sources and tried to suggest that this is the way we should work. So I wrote about a small blog post that we need to have this information structured, and also I also asked this Dennis Vrandetchik, how should we work with sources?
Magnus from Sweden, who's asking about references and how we can make sure, now that we are starting to add references, that we kind of, do we need a system maybe to rank these sources, right? To be able to say, this is a good source, this is a good reference, and this isn't, kind of in a way to fight fake news and maybe, I don't know, sources that might not be trustworthy. So these are two connected to what you were just talking about. So if you can comment.
I go first to Magnus' question about the sources, and yeah, definitely there's so much more that we can do than we're currently doing. To rank the sources, to classify them, to figure out which one of them are good, to easily allow someone to file answers by a class of sources, for example, to highlight non-existing references, to highlight statements that have no supporting sources, to check if the sources actually really claim what the statements are saying, and so on.
And so on. So he has a lot of ideas that we have not started the thing, this journey yet. And I did some more example here where we have same as people in the Nobel Prize people, and they had before a Sparkle endpoint. Now they have an API, and they don't have a calendar date for the dates. So people born in Russia, we always have the wrong because they don't say it's the Gregorian calendar or the Julian. Isaac Bashevis Singer, I think, is very odd. I found a comment on his English Wikipedia page, and they said that he was cheating about his age, so he didn't have to do the military service, and so on. So it's a mess, but we need to have a way to handle this. So we can't just have simple files, and that's the reason I think you should start look into this possibility. So what we do here, we have all this mess. We rank them. So now we say that deaf place is Hemsjö församling. And here we are bad because we should have another properties, I think. Because this is where administrative is died. And we have this from this good source. But the problem here is they use it as text string. We say that he is from Q15838. And then that is an object. So if and what I think is that if you start tracking data, you will have different research projects claiming different things. So you need to say this is from project XXX, this is from project WWW. Please use it, but you know this is how we see on parties when they started and so on. And we will learn more and we will get conflicting things and so on. So here we have a definition of Hemsjö. We don't have the area, we just put in the location of the church, which we didn't do here. Or maybe we did. There is the church. And we have also number of members. We have some people, Lashke, who is doing an enormous work. He has updated with different dates and so on. So we start adding, and this Iger has written articles about every parish. So this is the church parish is this one. Hemsjö socken is the parish before. And he has then done a decision, which I think is okay, that he said that the church parish was part of the old socken. And in 1863 it was, but we have no source here, so that's bad. And then we have external IDs, and we have the National Archive database reference code. We should have also we have a Torah ID, which is the National Archives, but I haven't added it. It is a little bit messy, but what they have done is that what we say is Hemsjö församling, which I think is very good for us to say, then this person, Iger, has written articles about all parishes, like this. This box out here is from Wikidata. And you can see we have no other languages. But what he says, it's a parish. We can see maybe here, we have avskild från. So it came from Hemsjö socken, which is not the church parish. And then we can see that we have in other languages, and I guess the small languages normally have Wikidata generated content. And we are moving more and more in that direction, that Wikipedia doesn't scale good. If we write one article like this, the next step is that we can write that in a generic language. It's called abstract Wikipedia, and then we will generate 300 languages using functions. So we will have a function library in Wikidata. Really crazy, but it's the same person, Danny, who's doing it. And so on, and so on, and so on. But I think set up a session or something like that. So what we do in the Wiki community, we are doing a lot of the same work more times. And we can also see that for the Swedish PM. So here someone has says that Socknar in Kullingherad. This is and that is done in a template in Wikidata, but it could also have been done in Wikipedia. And as I said, lista över ledamöter here. What I did here was that I added Carl Crispin with a link to this place. And we can see here is Evald Carl Crispin. I haven't updated him yet. I think I have added a picture of him in Wikidata. But then I can use this, and we can say sources, and normally we do like that. Everyone does in different ways. So now I say fetch from Wikidata what you have. And then we can see that Wikidata, in this case, I think I have updated it. It's no sources here because we don't have a number and so on. But we have a picture of him. And so now I say bring it from Wikidata. And the next step is to start finding something. And what I normally do is I do a search. Here I'm not 100% sure how to do it. So here we have him in the in a protocol from 1918. Why do we have it? Webcard. I hate this. So this is in the KB. And what we would like to have it, we would like to have it with a key, because if they have an internal key in Wikidata. We have a property for it. So that's even better. Here we have number 84. Is this the same? Let's get it. Crop has died. There, Crispin Crop. So he's mentioned in this one, and here we have the cool thing is that they have keys, so that we can say that he has died, we know. And if I go down then in Wikidata, we can see death date. Maybe it then we have Swedish. So I created a document number. So then we have this one. We can say retrieved. And we can say title. It looks better. We don't need the title, but it looks better in Wikipedia. And maybe we can have a quote from So we say this one is a quote. It doesn't state the date, I think, or in sent the 27. So then I say we take another, and here we have, this is multi-language fields. So then you could have in different norra valkrets. And when was this published? October 18. So it's 1 month later than when he died. Maybe we can find better quotes. So now I added it into Wikidata, that we think that this person has died. And if I go up to the article now, we can see that we have a quote number 1 that here, ledamoten för Södermalms. So that is how we reuse data. And I think it's a big step. But it's a step to working together with different research projects. And maybe one research project have their own data and they export it. The odd thing is that the Wikidata people, we have a lot of wars. We have a lot of intensive people. What we produce is not maybe as important as research people do. But we take our arguments and conflicts. And what we also use is something called Telegram. And you can see, here we discuss, everyone can be part of it. I saw some interesting thing yesterday. Here is Jan Ali, who has been active forever. And he said that we have a new word now, Corona bubble. And he has added it. When we start speaking about words, we are trying to add words in all languages, in all forms. So you have instance of sammansättning. It's corona and bubble. The source where he got it from is nyordlista, so he has created an object of it. He says it's an utrum, and then he has different meanings of the word. And then he tried to find out, do we have another language where this is also used? And here I think I wrote myself a plugin. That is this one. And it looks like the Swedish Academy doesn't have corona bubble in it. It has sidenbubbla, såpbubbla, snubbla. Koriander, sidenbubbla. So this is from the, so if in a working word with words, then we should have some better connection to the Swedish Academy. We are trying to speak to them, but it's impossible. And now I think I don't know if it's this part that they have a problem to motivate their existence. And they are doing excellent work as the Swedish SBL people, but maybe we need speak more how we connect different items in a digital humaniora. But I play around with Wikidata. It's a social experiment as I see it, but it's interesting. And here you can see that we have this lexeme. It's L, Q number is for concept. So you can see here that we have corona is the first part, and corona comes from this part, which is a language. Corona is from, I didn't know that. Looks odd. Härled from... And here people also connected back to the Wikipedia articles. But that's outside the scope of my understanding. A long thing. But what I will try to say is that you can start adding your persons. Have a list of them and start adding them to Wikidata, and maybe we can merge them later. We have good tools like this lista över ledamöter. So, and here you can see we have a lot of people, but we don't have this fabricör. We have Ernst Liljendahl, he's a captain. And here you can see we have just a picture, but we don't have connected him to the picture. We haven't created an area for him. See if we can do it. Normally I add a def here. That's good for my purpose. So now I create this person here and say that put his picture in this area, and then we say that this area is the same as Wikidata. And in Wikidata we then go down here and say that we have a lot of information. He's also in the Swedish biography. And what I not say now is that this person is also on this other place. And if I do a refresh here, purge the cache, he will go out and get the information from Wikidata. So now we can see we have birth, death, but we don't have more. So what has happened here is that someone has added him to an article, and then we created Wikidata 2012, and then we start adding sources. And then I think a bot was matching them. So we said that this person here is the same, but he was born in, and now we get back from the Swedish people a text string, but we translate this text string. And as you can see with this text string here, it's rather interesting, is that we have the same name here, it's an alias, but we have another name here. And then what I think is done is that it has a name change. So I stole that one, and then we still say, and what they do here, which is the old way, saying it's in ELN, which is crazy. And I think ELN is Linköping. Yeah. Looks like that. So then I do a refresh, and now we have, he is part of the Andra Kammaren. He in from 1912 to 1917. Popperi-Pop has done an enormous work. They say he's translator, but I will also say he is a politiker. And here you start defining these problems. How do we define things when it's a political person, because it's in the government and so on. And I think you people doing research should. And here now I add this source here, and if we can see if it's something more, normally they are rather good on when people start in. And here we have also text string. The odd thing, this is from the National Archives. They have the sources. Why don't they add the sources as sources and just claiming that they know? And they know 99% of the times it's correct. He seems to have done a military. And the sad thing here is that they also confirmed that he was a part of the second chamber. Here I say copy this and see if we can say second chamber 12 to 17. So they Act 12 17. So what we say, they confirm this. And what I also try to do is that I add the longer form of, I think I wrote a book that wrote this small one, but no. We say that a good source describing this object is Swedish biography. And then we add Swedish, for what could happen is that other languages would like to do articles. What we can see here is that we have no connections to this picture gallery. So I go out here and use my new plugin, get this bottom here, do a search over there, and we see, do we have a person 1869 1006? We have here. And we have a lot of them. So 1206, this is the same person. So I add the ID of this person. And then in this other system here, it's the same picture. We say that this is the same. I upload now this picture. It should just be unique names. That's the problem we have here. And then afterwards, I post-process it and add the metadata. So right now it's just Ernst Liljendahl, and we have no depicted and so on. What could be done is that people write tools everywhere. So what we can see now, we have 2 pictures of him, and then we know he is Q159, and then I can write what I can do then is that I can add with this tool written a person who has created so many tools. So it is crazy. So I say both those people selected, those pictures are depicted Ernst Liljendahl. So that means that we also get the metadata. So this is the last one I was updating. Now if we go down and look on the structured data, we can see he has depict. And if I look, I don't know if it's created yet, concept URI. If we looked, and if we are starting doing machine learning, we need to have this kind of. So here we have Q number of him. So the unique number of the picture is M1137307777. The unique number, what it depicts, is PH180 is depict, and it depicts Q number, that one. So I have written articles about how we could do data round tripping, and we have IDs of the original pictures. We can say this is Ernst Liljendahl, same as, and then we could have other sources saying the picture you uploaded from us is excellent, but we have this metadata, and then we can start do data round tripping and so on. Challenges with a picture is like this. We got this picture from the Swedish Portrait Archive, 800,000 of them, and now I crop it. And is it the same picture? How should we have the relation and so on? I think we haven't started looking into that yet. What we do is that we, in the metadata of this picture, we say that it is from we have a relation in the text, but not in the metadata. So it's a lot of things to learn. And now you can see also that we have when he was born and dead in this box here from Wikidata, and we have external here. We have the library IDs and so on. So this is the new library system from the people in Kungliga, and they did a linked data solution. I have so much plugins. The sad thing with this one, I think, is here we can see, so we can look at what JSON they have, and they haven't done the homework. So they say it's a unique ID, excellent. Now they have also, I complained a lot of them, and they get crazy. That it's same as exact match. Before they had C also, and I got insane, and they didn't understand how you do it in linked data. But now they are correct. So they say it's the same person as RQ number. They say they have a lifespan. This is messy. Give a name. What we do in Wikidata, as I mentioned, is that hopefully it's done here, is that we have the name with labels in more languages, and we have bots doing things. So in Bengali, they explained that this person was a Swedish translator, I guess, and so on. We don't have any odd forms here. But what we do is that we have a medborgarskap, normally bad sources on that. We have the second name and we have first name. So we have splitted the names. And in this other demo, we can see that this could be useful if we have a criminal, Ernst, who is moving to Bengali. Then this is what we find in the criminal records, or something like that. So by splitting, by having different name for different languages, it opens up enormous possibilities. I stop recording now. I think machine learning, but I'm not an expert, and graphs and linked data feels like an excellent combination. But I'm religious, so, and it's a big step, and you need to start communicating in a total new way. And I think when I was part of your workshop with how to get people educated in digital humaniora, it's new skills, and communication skill is also important. Thanks listening if someone has listened. So now I stop.